Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here playing some more Warhammer combat cards, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new Supreme Commander Belisarius Cawl in a 400 point campaign where everything is at max level, where he will be strongest. Now I don't actually own this warlord, but someone in my clan was gracious enough to provide us with some footage of the warlord in action alongside two other Lords of War, the Imperial Knight and the Baneblade, alongside two healers and Valkyrie with Barrage and this little guy with Taunt. So things with AoE damage like Barrage are in particular very strong with Belisarius Cawl. The way his special rule works, it increases the minimum damage that your cards deal to 75% of the card's base damage. And that is actually if the card would ever deal less than that amount of damage after the things like Inspiring Presence and Big Game Hunter are applied. It's a little bit confusing, so we'll take a look at it in action here and see how it works. So we're playing a match in the campaign. This is one of the later stages in the current campaign, up against the Silent King, and this is the initial deployment. So this guy is deploying the Imperial Knight and then the Baneblade. On the first turn we got the Annihilation Barge with Shield in the center lane, so he's moving the Baneblade over into the leftmost lane. And the enemy does have the first turn, so the Silent King orders his units to use a melee attack, and here we can see the first instance. I'm just going to pause it here. You can see 42 damage is dealt through the shield of the Annihilation Barge, so it ignores the effects of shields. However, that damage is not 75% of the modified damage, because that thing is actually, it's got Inspiring Presence and Big Game Hunter, but the 42 damage is 75% of the base melee attack of that Imperial Knight, so an important distinction. Here's the second part of the special rule. We can see 10% healing on all of your deployed cards at the start of your turn. A very powerful secondary effect of Belisarius Cawl's special rule. Now it is the next turn here. We're going to pause it again. You can see the damage here. So the damage from the Baneblade's primary attack has been amplified by Inspiring Presence and Big Game Hunter for a total of 296 damage. However, the splash damage is a little confusing though. 122 damage through the shield of the Annihilation Barge. So I believe that 122 damage is 75% of the unmodified ranged attack of the Baneblade. And it still knocks out one of the shields. The Annihilation Barge does get finished off by the Imperial Knight's main attack. Now the Silent King is going ranged. Once again, massive amounts of damage there with the retaliation from the Baneblade. Deploying some more units. We got Fear. So, yeah, the Nightbringer has Fear, but the attacks from these guys will just completely ignore the effects of Fear. At least, normally Fear would reduce the damage by 50%, but here, in this case, I think Cawl's special rule doesn't actually activate because the Big Game Hunter is already increasing the damage to over the 75% threshold of the base attack. So this is a bit of an exception. So just plowing through these bodyguards, as you can see, still got plenty of health, over 500 health on both of the Baneblade and the Imperial Knight. Now they are finally going to take down the healer here. And then so we could just deploy yet another healer to bring these guys back up, bring the Lords of War back up in health. Once again, they're getting the health boost again, and just massive amounts of damage. Again, the splash damage from the Baneblade's Barrage is dealing 75% of its main attack. Alright, so the Silent King, of course, gets replaced by the big Triarchal Menhir, which has Taunt, which should reduce the damage. But here, once again, we're going to pause it to see how much damage exactly the Baneblade does. In this case, I think it actually goes off of the normal attack of the Baneblade, unmodified by Belisarius. It's called a special rule. So you can see there, the splash damage dealt to the Silent King is 149, and I calculated it out. So it's actually the damage from the Baneblade's primary attack, so that's increased by Big Game Hunter, so 75% more, but then reduced down to 40% for the Barrage damage, equals 149. So that is not modified by Cawl's special rule. Very confusing, I know, especially when defensive and offensive traits start getting mixed together. It's very confusing as to what is actually happening. But regardless, you can see here the special rule is extremely powerful, especially how it just goes straight through shields and essentially nullifies the effects of Fear as well. Of course, you can use any sort of AoE trait that will combo with the special rule, so that means like Death Blow, Psionic Blast in particular will be very strong. But yeah, Very strong warlord, which I would not be surprised if they decide to nerf it later, especially in these 400-point game modes. Just an incredibly powerful warlord, possibly the strongest one in the game at the moment. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.